What's going on Facebook? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world options trading course. I want to give you a heads up, let you know that you're one trade away from having a life that you desire. And what we're going to talk about really quickly is that what does the market know about you that you don't know about yourself? And this is going to be really good information for people that are aspirational traders in the market. Even if you're a day trader, this is going to be really good information because we're going to start talking about the psychology of yourself and how not really understanding your psychology doesn't allow you to trade at your highest level and really get the success that you desire. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a really basic scenario. And this is what happens to most traders, whether they're going to be options traders or day traders. But it happens to most traders, especially ones that have not been educated properly, what we like to call laced with game. You come into the market as a trader and you get a position. And your position is based on you believing that the market is moving in a certain direction. Or you may take a really long position because you believe that, eventually because of the situation with this particular company or the market is going to move into a particular position. So you may not necessarily be trying to time the market. You may have a very long-term focus on the situation. And things don't go the way you desire them to go. They don't go the way maybe you thought that they were going to go. And so even though the market has moved into a different situation, you still stay there. And you stay there to the detriment of your capital. So what happens is over time, because of the position that you're taking, the capital that you invested in this particular position starts to erode. And you start to lose a larger and larger percentage of that particular capital over time. What's going on, Kimberly? And so over time, you start to watch your position start to decline. But what happens is you stay there and you continue to observe your position declining. And you don't do anything about what's going on. Now, what is the reason why you're doing this? Well, one of the reasons why you're doing this is because you want to be right. And because you want to be right, even though things are going wrong, you're so invested in being right, you don't do anything to correct or improve what's going on because you're really invested in being right. Okay? Now, what do I know about people that think like this? Well, what I know is that they thought like this before they ever came into the market. So what the market is really efficient at is taking any kind of psychological challenges that you have and manipulating those psychological challenges to take money and get it to flow from you into the market, but never let any money flow from the market into you. So this happens to a lot of people when they start trading, right? What's going on, Bell? Let's say, hey, let me start an account with $5,000. And they start to trade, whether it's day trade or options trade. And because they have this issue where they need to be right and they're constantly trying to figure out how to prove to be right. And like you're 100% correct, Rebel, people want to be right and they're scared about being wrong. You're 100% correct. And that's the majority of the world. So the market knows that once things go against what you assumed and go against your position, you're so invested in being right, you won't cut your losses and get out of the position, right? You won't do that. You're going to stay there because you're so invested in being right. You'll rather lose your capital than to admit that you're wrong. And this is crazy because most of us are working very hard to get our capital. So we're working very hard to get our capital. But being right is more important, right? Because of the emotion that's going to be delivered than the actual tangible capital that we have. And even though I know money is electronic, from a mental standpoint, it represents, we see in our mind real dollars. So we would rather lose our capital than to admit that we were wrong. So it's kind of like that old saying that you'll cut your nose off to spite your face. This is what a lot of people do. The market understands that. So this is one of the reasons why I tell people that the psychology, right, and the way in which you kind of understand how your brain works and some of the psychological challenges that you have, you can't just learn the technicals of trading. You always have to be constantly working on your mindset and your psychology. Because that's what's going to fail most people as traders. Not that they don't know the latest setup, they don't know the latest scheme, they don't have enough information on the particular situation. Is that they're not really aware of their psychology. So they're not aware of this psychological dilemma or this psychological cycle that they're going through. So then once it starts, they don't see it. So I had a situation where I entered into a trade yesterday, which was 5/20/2020. I believe that because of a lot of the news that was going on around this company, that the share price would start to sell off. During that day, the share price did not sell off, right? I decided that evening that I was going to get out of that trade because I hit my exit percentage where I said, if I lose this amount of what I put into this particular trade, it's now time for me to exit. Because I've spent a lot of time disciplining myself, right, in this particular area, it wasn't difficult for me to wake up and get out of that situation. Because to me, retaining my capital so I can go into another situation is more important than the emotional, right, satisfaction I'm gonna get for being right about this situation. Because I really understand that I'm playing a long-term game, not a short-term game where it's situation by situation, right? I'm playing a much longer game where I have to be right over a long term as opposed to being right about one specific situation, right? So this is what I want you to understand. The market makers, the people that have created these markets, they understand human psychology at a very, very deep level. These are some of the people these are the same group of people that are running the world currently today, right? So they can't run the world currently today if they don't really have a really good grasp of human psychology. And we find that even people that are managing millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, they have the same psychological challenges of people that are managing maybe $5 to $10 to $15 to $20,000, right? Because it's based on human psychology. The way for you to be successful long-term in the markets is for you to really start working your mindset, right? Or what we like to call psychology. And start working on that and start to really understand what are some of the triggers around your behavior. What are some of the ways in which you make impulsive things? What are some of the psychological dilemmas that you may deal with? And understand that if you don't overcome those or learn how to deal with those effectively, when you go into the market will expose all of those and use them against you, right? And really what they'll do is they'll make all the money flow from you into the market and will not allow any of the money to flow from the market back to you. And we're here to have money flow from the market back to us, right? And we'll understand as you start to become more and more experienced, a lot of that is really based on your mindset and your mental ability, not just you understanding a lot of things technically. So I wanted to shoot this video out because this is something that I talk about in my highest paid part-time job in the world course, getting people to really understand, right, their psychology, understanding risk management, and understanding that before you get into a situation, you always have to understand how you're going to exit that particular situation. And you have to stick to that exit point that you set, because what you want to do is start disciplining yourself that the way you make decisions and your decision-making process is more important than you being right in a particular situation. Right? What's going on, Demetrius? What's going on, Nicole? So I hope that this provided some type of value to you. If you know somebody else can get value from this, please share it out, trying to get the message out. And if you got any comments, hit them up in the comments. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, and I'll talk to you later.